seems to be true in what is your reality. When it's time to show up for your students, when it's time to meet up with deadlines that school has given you, you do every and anything to show up. But when you set personal goals, do you show up for yourself when you set personal goals? One of such personal goals is taking your health seriously, your mental health, your physical health. Do you break down all in the process of trying to show up for the school or the students? So today, I'm just here to give us a wake-up call and a reminder that as much as you're showing up for your school and your learners, you need to also show up for yourself. If you agree with me, type in the comment section, show up for yourself. You need to show up for yourself. Enough is enough. When you don't show up for yourself, you can't give your best. So teachers need to show up for themselves. No matter the value that your school or the value that your learners place on you, the most important value is the value you place on yourself. You are the value. What you do is not the value. You are the value. Can somebody type in, I am the value? When you show up for yourself, you begin to project to others that you are seeing yourself as the value. But when you don't show up for yourself, people will bargain you or bargain your value on any rate that they deem good enough for them, right? I don't know if you understand that. For instance, the value of Gucci, we all know. Okay, all these designers. I saw recently one of the designers made a pants for how many thousands of dollars? Just pants. And why was the person confident enough to sell the pants at that rate? Because the person has placed value on himself. So when you place value on yourself, it's the value you place on yourself that will make others place that much value on you. That is one of the things I've learned in this period. And because I love to share knowledge, and I'm sharing it with you now. As you go into the school year, ensure to place value on yourself, because it is the value you place on yourself that others will place on you. All right, so another important thing is to also pray. Never neglect the importance of prayers. Let me give you a typical example of some of the instances I've had. I've been in a situation where my learners, it was a bit difficult bridging that learning gap with this particular learner. This particular learner would rather play than learn. So now we know that in learning or in education, there's a place for play, right? And a child's play can also be assessed. That is what happens in the early years foundation. As much as we are assessing the child's play, there's a place for learning. For instance, when children go out to the playground, as much as they are engaging in free play, you are, as an expert, you are also able to identify the learning skills that the child is exhibiting in that, because some of the things that you've done in the classroom translates while they are having their free play. So this particular child just was not exhibiting the skills or showing interest in learning, and then I had to over time, I prayed for her in secret. And for instance, before I even continue on this story, before I start any school year, I usually anoint my classroom. I anoint the lockers, the chairs that my learners are going to sit on, their tables, every corners of the classroom. I anoint it. The teachers, the interactive whiteboard, the door, the window. I anoint everything, because every area and any area can be an instrument that will be used to put you in trouble. You don't want to get into trouble because, for instance, you've been very, very careful, and then last minute something happened, and it just seems like everything you've done was nothing. So now, back to the story. I had to, since my private prayers, I wasn't seeing the result. I had to pray for the child there and then. And do you know what? When I started praying for the child, do you know what the child did? The child started exhibiting. I'm not saying that the child is possessed, but the child just was refusing to be prayed for. The child said, no, 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 no. This is what I wasn't even laying hands on the child. I was just confessing directly to the child, and the child started exhibiting things that were very, very unusual, and I was taken aback. And that was how the child, we were there. I had to tell my assistant to take care of the other children. I took the child to one corner. I sat with that child, and we were there in that position for more than 30 minutes. I had to use anointing oil to anoint the area that we were in. And then I was speaking the word, speaking the word, speaking the word. Eventually, that child came out of whatever situation it was. And after that day, the child started giving the results I wanted. Does it have to be that dramatic? No, it doesn't have to be that dramatic. But the point is, you need to pay attention to your learners. You need to identify the ones that need extra prayers. The ones that, yes, you pray for all your learners in your secret places, but sometimes you need to pray for them one-on-one, have that physical contact with the prayers. You need to constantly speak the words of what the results you want to see from your learners. You need to constantly speak them into your learners. After that experience, that was like my first year in preschool. After that experience, I realized that the following year, tougher children were brought to my own class, because we have seen like, oh, okay, this person produced results with these children. So that was maybe it wasn't, that was not the plan, but that was how I saw it, right? So what am I saying in essence? We've talked about value, you placing value on yourself, and then we've talked about you being spiritually alert with your learners and your environment, constantly praying. So yesterday I joined a prayer group for resumption, and then one of the things that was said was pray against accidents and all that. So sometimes you may be very careful, but at the end of the day, there's one accident or the other, and you cannot really explain how it happened. So these things are things that we need to be careful of, right? So I'm not here to give you the obvious. Number 3, you already know the obvious, your lesson plans, your curriculum review and all that. Those are the obvious. Then classroom rules and expectations is part of the obvious. You need to interact with your learners and come up with the rules. Don't make the rule alone. Don't make the rule in isolation of your learners. You need to make the rules with your learners so that they feel involved in the learning process. It's very, very important you make the rules with your learners so that they feel involved in the learning process. And another way is differentiated instruction. That's another tip to take into consideration. Every learner is unique. You need to differentiate while teaching. So everyone is not learning at the same pace. That is exactly what differentiation is. So it seems like, oh, what is this? If you're confused or you don't engage in that, this is it. Every learner does not learn at the same pace. Your ability to identify the learning pace of your individual learners is very, very important. And then you now relate with them based on their learning pace and try to make everyone meet up with the learning goals at the end of the day. So I hope that was clear enough about differentiating your lessons. All right, so the fourth point is collaborate. Collaborate with your colleagues. Never work alone. Never work alone. Like the story I told you, I needed my assistant to keep the fort for me with the rest of the class while that situation was going on. Just imagine that I was acting like a champion, and then I was handling that, trying to get that, and then leaving my assistant to just be looking. Man, you're not a superstar in that light. You will just burn out. You don't need to burn out. This is not the season to burn out. Not at all. Because the teaching process, it's already enough burnout for you. With these few points, and finally, as you collaborate, seek help. Endeavor to seek help. Always seek help. Help is always there for you. But if you don't reach out for it, you will never get it. So you need to always reach out for help. Ask for help. You're not an island. Don't walk alone. Ask for help. Reach out to others and stay positive. So I hope with these few points, I've been able to give you some tips that would help you with the new school year, right? So tomorrow, I'll be coming with tips for parents. I do look forward to seeing you. If you are a parent and you're looking forward to this new school year, yeah, I have some tips for you. Make it a date tomorrow by 4 p.m. and I'll tell you the tips. So thank you, teachers. I wish you a very successful school year. And I look forward to hearing your success stories, right? If you have any questions or clarity on anything or any area, you can reach out to me in the areas of sciences and mathematics or the LES Foundation. I'm your go-to person to reach out for any support and questions. Thank you. Till I come your way tomorrow for tips for parents. Take care. Thank you to everyone that joined. I really appreciate. We started, the connection took us off, and now we are back again. We came back again. So thank you very much. Tomorrow will be a better day. Take care.